I'm up for a little bit of colour today. So I've come across this incredible meadow scene here in England. Got the church here, this bank of trees, a sky with a bit of cloud, but of course the star show is all these wildflowers, all colours there, purples, reds, yellows, different colours, and the petal shapes and the grasses and the cornfield here. So how am I going to do this? And I've got a band here, a bit of a ditch along there, and some, hold on, I keep losing my, there's the church there. So I want to try and get the shape of that, the castellations and the style of the church. But the question is, how do I get all these colours in? So what I've done is just tone the board there. This is a plywood board, 3.6 millimetre that I got from the hardware store and cut down to size. But I've got to keep it light. That's the issue. So I'm going to have a go. And here's how just rough the main line of the church and the meadow here. But so let's get straight into that anyway. I think the first place to go would be for that bank of trees, really. So that's pretty dark. So I'm going to use some permanent green, and I've got some ultramarine as well, which will give me a darkish green, rather dark colour. I've got some phthalo green as well. A bit dubious about using that. So fierce, and that's not looking at all green, so I think we will get some. Yes, we can go some of that phthalo. Anyway, it's a whole band of trees here, so if I get it roughly mapped out, I can put some form into the tree line, so we get something that looks like trees. I say at the moment it's just a blob. So I've got to keep it interesting. Yeah, this just can be our rough shape, I think. Something to project a little bit like an old oak tree there. Come down. Just got to keep it interesting. So we've got some set, so this is the depth as well. So we're going to do that by its size, but also by its tonal value as well. Get a little bit bluer in the distance, so I think I could do that. And just a little bit in here, there is a ditch, a few bands of green coming along like this, and in here we've got more of a sort of a little band of grass is coming here on this track edge, really. So let's See if we can get these in. So we've got to really have lots of variety. Just got to block it in now. I'm going to stay with this fairly big brush. I've got a number 4. It's a filbert, I think. Daleroni filbert. And yes, we've got to get these greens right somehow. You can vary your greens with various colours, umbers, or even a little bit of red. You can change a green. So variable, and of course if you want a brighter green, then you would put a little bit of yellow, give you a different colour there. This board that I've got here is very, very smooth, so I'm a bit of a learning curve how to cope with that actually. It's a bit too smooth at the moment, but it takes a little time to learn these things. I'm going to use all sorts of greens. I must try and overlap them as well. Actually, that comes right over this church. We'll cut that to shape, of course, as we go. Got to get this tonal value right of these trees though. If I push them a little bit back with some blues. So we're going to push this element further back than here. These are closer to us. So we can put lighter colours. I think we might as well. I got some white as well. Yeah, let's grey them out a little bit. Yes, we can see they go back a little bit. This is going to be a cornfield here as well, so we'll have to get some nice yellows in there. Try and do that line along there a little bit to suggest a hedgerow. Yes, I think this can... Right. Yes, so getting a little bit of shine from the oil in the paint there. I hope you can get to see something of what I'm trying to do. So I want this got to be a mass of different greens and colours, little sections, greens. I just going to stab at it and we'll have to adjust as we go. Yes. Going to have sort of darker elements as well, where the light doesn't get through. So we'll have to engineer that line there. What you've got to do is try and make it random. If you've tried to engineer it too much, it tends not to work. So says start to use these ply boards recently, so they're a bit different from painting on canvas, but apparently the years and years ago in the Renaissance people painted on wood. Wood was the wood panels. It's only when they needed to do larger paintings where they had to think of something that was a bit lighter. If you imagine hanging a big panel up, it's quite a challenge. So then they started to cradle canvases So apparently a wood panel though reflects the light. Some people I've listened to say more so than the canvas. The canvas kind of absorbs the light. So a denser surface can reflect your light better. So many variables, it's just a thought. I can come back later with stiffer paint and finer brush strokes to define some of the grasses, and obviously we've got to put those flowers in. That will be a major objective. Use much finer brushes, or maybe a fan brush, something to try and emphasize these finer grasses. At the moment I'm still trying to see if I can get this right tonal value for here to suggest a meadow. So let's make sure we've got some areas of dark. Still using a pretty big brush actually, just on the tip of it. But I'm just thinking I've got a dagger brush in my kit somewhere, and I might just dig that out. I've got a superb for showing grasses. As I said, we want to stay with the bigger brush as you can for a while anyway. There's a bit of a gully there. It's just coming along there. Let's get moving around my canvas, my board. You don't want to stay too focused on one element for too long, or you become a bit blindsided by it. So I'm trying to be cognizant of that. Let's get something a bit darker in places. Yes, I think I need to use some thicker paint. Let's get a bit of that phthalo. Mix it with our permanent green. Also got a sap green somewhere as well. Using a fairly limited palette at the moment. Trying to suggest these shapes, and along there we've got that hedge. I give a little bit of form to that. the viewer hopefully will see that. And also some dark bits in here. Got to get these yes, we'll get on to the smaller brushes. I'm resisting at the moment. If I go too soon, let's get a little darks going. Just squinting my eye at some of my reference. You can see definitely the darker areas where the light is not getting through quite so much. Is very dense, this grass. I've got to get some lighter greens as well. So I'll get some white, get some lemon yellow going with it. See what we can come up with. I could take a palette knife. I can do that a little bit later. Yes, some little bits of phthalo there. Right, let's get a bit smaller brush. Something like this. Let's see what can come up there. Yes, that's helping. Yes. So many little brushes. Yes. Let's get some different colours going. Yes, this surface is very, very slick, I'm afraid. So I think I have to thicken up my paint and just sort of lay it on. Like this. Twirl my brush a little bit like that. This is quite a challenge. Has to be a bit patient, I think. Yes, we could change some colours, I think. Actually, could be quite a good idea to let it get a little bit tacky and do it then. Could do that, and I'm just got my palette knife here. Yes, that can help give me some nice textures. Yes, I think we could do that. Let's get a mixture of some of these greens. Yes, I think we can get some of these little yellows in now. Tickle those in. Got some cadmium yellow, lemon yellow. Some bigger blobs of colour in the foreground, of course, and then smaller as they're back in the distance where we won't see them so much. But I've got to get a whole series of, and I can put some details into the flower heads as well. Can do that. Let's get a bit of lemon going here. I'm going to have to squeeze out a lot more though. We've got some blues to come as well. Some reds. See what nice little splodges here. Now I can put some leaves on them, of course. Some petals. But anyway, I shouldn't be fiddling at the moment with these little bits. I still haven't done that cornfield, which is quite a mass, isn't it? So let's put some colour in there in a minute. That margin will right, let's leave that for the moment and get a nice clean brush and try and map in some better yellow, some Oh, I know what I need. I've got some Naples. Naples yellow, that's what we need. Let's get a clean brush and see what I can make of that. Yes, I love Naples yellow. Gorgeous colour it is. So this is a good reason for having that sort of light tone that I did in this area, because it's easier to cover with this colour than if it was, you know, far too dark. Trying to cover with a light is trickier. Can be done, of course, with oil, because you can always wipe it off. That's the beauty. Just take a cloth or scrape it off, or so this is fairly light at the moment, my paint. Trying to show that ditch. I can define that ditch a little bit better as well with a brush, a nice smaller brush. A little bit later. So let's take this down here into the margin of the field. We've got to try and use our brush strokes to create the form of the wheat as well. Let's just get the background in here like that, and let me see, I got enough contrast here. We'll bring some of the greens and the grasses into there in a minute. But for the moment, let's just get the outline of this cornfield sorted out. Yes, I've got to try and see how I can step up the colour in certain areas. A little darker here. Got to have the variety in tone of it. Although the field will look a bit flat. I'm trying to give a bit of form to it. That's better. It's coming on. And then, as I said, we can put some grasses over it, over this margin. There's a bit of light here. Could use this. Push that back a little bit. Oops, knocking the camera. Sorry about that. Right, let's get some more Naples. I think I need. Actually, well, I've got a little bit of flowers there. Right, let's get we better have some cadmium now. Got too much. Oh, I've got too much lemon, rather, I should say. Let's get some cadmium out. Brighter yellow. Yes, now, should I do a few stabs with the palette knife, of course. Could do that. Let's get a brush load or so going. If I put them up against the darker areas, there for instance, they will show a little bit better because it's always contrast. Difficult to get it off my... I think I'm going to dab a few down with these. Yes, I need to get a little mound of it and tap it in. Simple as that. Try and get the shape of some of these flowers. Say this meadow is a real picture. This farmer's been doing a great job. See if we can get back to the brush. See if I can lay some on. Little lumps. There's lots of little ones up here. Little dots of colour. Quite a skill in trying to apply delicate lumps of paint to make it realistic anyway, and at least read a little bit so it's vaguely real. And of course this is impressionistic interpretation. This is certainly isn't photorealistic. That's not what I'm doing here. See, they've got so many absolute massive of flowers. Also little ones. Of course, we haven't got any blues in yet. We need to do that because I've got to do the church. That's important. So let's make sure we got some nice green. Leaves. Sometimes if your paint is the right constituency, not too stiff, you can flick it like this with the right brush. I'll give you some suggestion of grass. That works better with watercolour actually, but it can be done. So maybe I should, let's get some reds and oranges going. Because there are a few gorgeous reds. I mustn't overdo this though. They're in clusters. A little view up here. Yes. Could where should we put these? Here. Yes, I think. A little bit here and there. Mustn't overdo it though. And let's get some orangey ones as well. I think there are one or two I can see down here. Let's put some more yellow with that. So we can make it a little bit orangey looking. Almost mixing on the palette, or on the board I should say. Do that sometimes. Right. Right. Now let's get some blue before we forget the blue. How could we do that? What have I got? Let's get a clean brush for a start. Don't want to ruin it. It looks like they're cornflower. So they're going to be a nice blue with cerulean, perhaps. Yes, there's a lot of them too. Yes, let's get a few of these. In fact, they are also in clusters. Yes, we've got some in our foreground as well. Yes, we've got a lot of... Everybody loves a cornflower. There are lots of them. So I think they were definitely in clusters, in clumps. And we've got some out here. Some tiny little hints at them as well, places. Yeah, that's some nice greens. Bit of a foil for the wildflowers. So let's get a little bits of... Ooh, I've got a different blue there. Not quite what I had in mind. That's a little bit of white with some phthalo green. You often get happy accent, well, you hopefully get happy accent. Well, there you have my finished painting of this meadow field, an English meadow in the summer with the cornfield and the lovely wildflowers. And there's a bit of glare on the screen. Can you see? I've done the church there as well. In fact, let me just zoom up on a bit. So we've got a dark side to that as well, a shadow side. Can you see that? Is that focusing? There we go. Let's focus on there. Yep, there it is. And then we have all this wildflowers. I need to pull back a little bit, it's not in focus there. So I think I've captured the sense of the sunshine, which was what I wanted to do, and bright and colourful. All these cornflowers and different poppies, different colours and things. But anyway, if you like it, please give me a thumbs up, and if you haven't already subscribed, think about that, because it helps the channel grow, and also any comments that you might have on this painting or painting in general.